Welcome to the Double E Cup Series Season 4. We are at Daytona International Speedway for race number 5 out of 8, as we're just past the halfway point of this season, and we head to Super Speedway for some pack racing action. It should be a good one this afternoon, as we have 28 drivers, as is the norm. And here is your starting lineup. On the pole is Matt Kenseth, along with Greg Biffle. And then we have Denny Hamlin and Kasey Kahne in row 2. Then in row 3 we have Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart. In row 4 we have Austin Dillon and Jimmie Johnson. And then we have Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski, along with Casey Mears and Jeff Gordon. And then we have Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Joey Logano, along with Kyle Busch and Ryan Newman. And then we have Jeff Burton in the 31 and Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42, along with Jamie McMurray and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And then we have Danica Patrick and Martin Truex Jr., along with Paul Menard and Trevor Bayne. And then we have Clint Bowyer and Marcos Ambrose. And then we have Mark Martin and Eric Almirola rounding it out. Here's your race info. 28 cars, like I said, 10 laps around this 2.5 mile speedway, and Matt Kenseth is going to lead us to the green here at Daytona. Green flag in race 5. As they head into turn 1, teammate Denny Hamlin giving Kenseth a little bit of a push to the lead. Greg Biffle gets hung out on the outside as Kahne will fall in line in third, as a 2-car breakaway at the front of the field. Now here comes Greg Biffle with help from Jimmie Johnson on that outside. Kenseth will move up to block as they come around turn 4, and we'll begin lap 2. Denny Hamlin now with a good run on that inside. He has Kasey Kahne behind him. They're going to go to the lead, as now Matt Kenseth's going to be stuck in the middle as Jimmie Johnson and Brad Keselowski command that outside lane. Hamlin and Kahne will move into the middle, which leaves Greg Biffle on the inside lane by himself, with Austin Dillon behind him. Now Denny Hamlin gets sucked into the middle. Jimmie Johnson will lead lap 2. We're on lap 3 now. Kasey Kahne, his teammates, got to run on the inside. He's going to lead by half a car length now, as Greg Biffle is giving him a little bit of a run. Denny Hamlin and Matt Kenseth have fallen back, as now it looks like the inside lane's going to get a little bit of a run. Here comes Keselowski giving a push to Kasey Kahne, as Greg Biffle will lead that lap as they head through the tri-oval now. And oh, there's trouble. There's Ryan Newman spinning, and Jamie McMurray is included along with Paul Menard, and it looks like Trevor Bayne has crashed into the outside wall, and our first caution of the day is out on lap number 4 for a 4-car crash here just across the start-finish line. Let's take a look at the replay. It looked like Danica Patrick turned Newman right in front of Trevor Bayne and Jamie McMurray, and then Paul Menard also had nowhere to go. So a tough break, and that's what can be what happens at super speedways. One car spins and just a bunch of other guys are collected. Everyone else will restart here about halfway through. We're on lap number 6, and Greg Biffle is your leader with Kasey Kahne to his outside. Green flag is back in the air. And now Brad Keselowski is going to get a big run. He's going to sweep across the outside. He's going to try and move into second. Austin Dillon will fill that space. He has a run from Kasey Kahne. He's going to move into the lead in front of Greg Biffle. And now Keselowski kind of out there by himself. Here comes Casey Mears. He gets blocked by Austin Dillon as they head across the start-finish line. As now it's a 3-car breakaway up front. Kane's going to look to the inside, but he doesn't have too much help. Tony Stewart trying to fill his gap as there's trouble on the backstretch. Jimmie Johnson now spins across the grass, and he comes to a rest there on the back straightaway, and a single-car crash here brings out our second caution on lap number 7. Look on the replay. Looked like Hamlin maybe hit him in a bad spot on the rear of his car and just turned him. Minimal damage on the 48. He'll be able to continue, as everyone else will line up for a green-white checkered at Daytona. Should be a good finish here. Austin Dillon and Kasey Mears, a couple underdogs at the front of the pack, will lead us to the green with 2 to go. As they head down the front stretch into turns 1 and 2, Kahne looking there in third. He's got some help. He'll sweep into the middle lane now. Kasey Mears trying to get something going from Tony Stewart. Here comes Matt Kenseth. He moves into that middle lane. He's got a big run as they cut across the start-finish line. He takes the white flag. Dillon tried the block, wasn't able to. Joey Logano has moved into second now, as Kenseth has a little bit of a 2-car breakaway, but here comes Tony Stewart with Brad Keselowski on the outside. Then to turn 3, he turns Kenseth. Kenseth collides back into the field with Jeff Gordon, who flips over. And up front, Joey Logano is going to win at Daytona, as several cars crash here in turns 3 and 4. A ton of damage on Jeff Gordon's car as he flipped over a few cars in the field as they headed through 3 and 4, and a big crash here involving several drivers, including Edwards, Keselowski, Kahne, Biffle, and Matt Kenseth, along with Jeff Gordon. Some of the most dominant cars of the race taken out in the last lap. Looked like Stewart got into Kenseth, who spun out and came right back up in front of everybody. And you saw Jeff Gordon get on his roof up against the wall. A lot of damage on that 24 car. Joey Logano and Marcus Grant celebrate their first win of the season. And here's your final results. Austin Dillon and Casey Mears with good finishes. Jim and Garrett Fuller second and third. Jacob Cummings finishes fifth. He rounds out the top 5. And you saw several of the most dominant cars in this race, such as Carson Hay 14 finishes 19th. Andrew Grove finishes 20th. And then we saw guys like Brock Johnson and Drew Peck and Cody Hagan, who were all up front for most of this thing. They all were caught up on that final crash. Tough break for them. Here's your point standings, and we have a new points leader. It's the number 11 car of TV Box 53 now has a 1-point lead, as several of our front runners, such as Benito and Thiago Silva, as you saw, got caught up in wrecks. They fall back a little bit, along with the 24 of Cody Hagan. They all fall back a few spots, and that allows a couple new guys to show their faces up at the front of the pack. So it's shaping up to be an exciting final 3 races of the season. And we'll see who becomes the Season 4 E Cup Series Championship. Thanks for watching race number 5 from Daytona. I hope you enjoyed the super speedway action. Race number 6 will be from our second and final road course of the season. It will be Watkins Glen coming later this month. So I hope you look forward to that, and I'll see you guys then.